The damage done to voter confidence by the actions of Secretary Griswold's office often falls to county election clerks to repair, which is why Denver's clerk provided rare access today so that you could see the voting system machines impacted by the password leak and talk to the man in charge of securing them. We came down to the Denver County Clerk and Recorder's office to see what layers of physical and IT security somebody would have to get through if they had one of the passwords leaked by Secretary of State Jena Griswold's office. So for the purposes of this experiment, let's just say I have the leaked password. Jena Rocks 1, exclamation mark. They always make you put in one of those marks. All right, we've got the password. We're going to try to get in. Layer 1.
The leaked passwords could only pose a threat if someone had insider access.
We are headed to the counting room now, so we have made it into the building.
Denver Elections Operations Manager Jimmy Flanagan let us in, past the security, batched us into the room with the impacted voting systems.
We'll get you in.
Denver had 20 machines affected. This is one of them. It tallies votes as paper ballots are scanned. Put in the BIOS password here, and you could reactivate dormant wireless equipment. Voting systems are not supposed to be able to connect to the internet.
So if somebody was able to get this far, get through the physical security, take the password, get into the BIOS, what access would they have to the Dominion voting software, which is on the machine tabulating the votes?
They would not have any access because the BIOS is just the first layer of security on this machine. We don't even have access to those BIOS passwords, but one password that the Secretary of State doesn't have access to is the operating system that is installed on here. So each one of these has its own password to log into the operating system, and they additionally have a password to log into the Dominion application to actually launch the tabulation software. You would need that separate password, and you would need a physical token to actually launch the application.
If somebody could get into the BIOS, could they put something on that is or looks like Dominion software so that somebody logging on wouldn't even know it?
Potentially, I suppose you could if you say you had, a copy of that software. However, if you did that, it would be noticeable right away as soon as we started tabulating because it wouldn't be able to communicate with any other portions of our closed network in here. So we would notice that right away.
How confident are you on the affected machines that somebody wasn't in there with the ability to cover their tracks?
I am 100% confident that nobody has been in here modifying any of our installations.
And I found out when everybody else found out, and that's unfortunate.
Denver Clerk and Recorder Paul Lopez shares his team's confidence in the security of their system, but he is frustrated with Secretary of State Jena Griswold's handling of the situation.
It's not necessarily, making a mistake or not. It's how you handle that, and how you handle the mistake, and how transparent you are, and making sure that the appropriate folks that are involved in it know about it. And
how do you assess the Secretary's handling of this?
Well, it's unfortunate and it was disappointing, especially because we know that, we're in the middle of an election, and, although we know that nothing was compromised and you would have to get through multi-layers of security to get here, the perception is the other thing that we're fighting. We have an election to run. And it's important for folks to know that they can still turn in their ballot and have faith that it's secure, that it's transparent, and it's easy as pie like it always is in Colorado.
El Paso County's clerk, a Republican, is calling for Secretary Griswold's resignation, saying the voters would have more trust in the process if it was run by somebody else. Denver Clerk Lopez, a Democrat, says it's up to voters to decide who is our Secretary of State.